In this video, we're going to be practicing synthetic division. The synthetic division is kind of a shortcut for division. Unfortunately, it only works whenever we are dividing by a linear binomial. And what I mean by that is when we're dividing by something that looks like this, where I only have x to the first power, that's a linear x, and then another constant, like -2. So this is a linear binomial. This is the only time synthetic division is going to work for us. The way that you start out synthetic division is we're going to write down the coefficients of the terms in the polynomial that we're dividing into. So in this case, I'm going to write down 3, and then -4, and then 1, and -5. For 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus x, or 1x, minus 5. I'm going to put a little box out here to the side, and in that box, now I'm looking at my binomial x minus 2. I want to put in the box whatever makes this binomial equal 0. So for example, I want x minus 2 to be equal to 0, which means that x would be 2. So I'm going to put 2 in my box. I'm going to skip some space under those numbers and draw a line. Now the process here, we're going to add going down, and we're going to multiply whatever we get at the bottom times 2. So we're starting here with the 3, and I don't have anything to add to it. The 3 is just going to come down, but then I'm going to multiply 3 times 2, and I get 6, and I'm going to write it here under the next number, the next coefficient. -4 plus 6 is 2. 2 times the 2 that's in the box gives me 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. And then -5 plus 10 gives me 5. Okay, now in this problem, I started out with a cubic polynomial. My first polynomial was 3x cubed, and then it went on from there. So it was a cubic polynomial. I divided by a linear polynomial. I divided x cubed by x to the 1. And whenever I do that, I should end up with an x squared answer. Now these numbers that I got at the bottom of my synthetic division, the 3, 2, 5, 5, those are now coefficients on my new polynomial. Since I've divided, I'm down to x squared. So this is going to be 3x squared plus 2x plus 5 plus, and then this last 5, it's our remainder, and so I'm going to divide it by x minus 2, which is what I was dividing the polynomial by in the first place. So my answer would be 3x squared plus 2x plus 5 divided by x minus 2. Let's look at another example, a little bit different this time. I want to divide x to the 4th minus 3x squared plus 2x. I'm going to divide that by x plus 3. Okay, so I'm going to start out by writing the coefficients of the first polynomial. However, notice in this polynomial that there's some terms that have been skipped. I'm starting with x to the 4th, but then there's no x cubed term. I have to put in a 0 to account for that place, to hold the place for the x cubes. So my first coefficient is 1 for x to the 4th. Then I'm going to put a 0 for x cubed. I have a -3 for the x squared. I have a 2 for x to the 1. And then notice there's no constant term. And it's easy to forget about that, but we have to have a constant term as well. And so I'm going to put in a 0 for the constant. Now I'm going to put my little box in front. And remember, the number that I write inside the little box should be whatever makes the second, the binomial, whatever we're dividing by. I want to put in whatever number makes that 0. In this case, if x was negative 3, then negative 3 plus 3 would be 0. And so that's the number that goes in my little box. I'm going to skip some space under the numbers and draw a line. And just as a reminder, I am adding going down, and then I'm multiplying whatever I get times negative 3. So I'm going to start with this 1 and just bring it down since there's nothing to add it to. I'm going to multiply the 1 times negative 3, and I get negative 3. I'm going to write it underneath the 0. 0 plus negative 3 is negative 3. I'm going to multiply this negative 3 times the negative 3 in the box, and I get 9. Negative 3 plus 9 is 6. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. 2 plus negative 18 is negative 16. And negative 16 times negative 3 is positive 48. And 0 plus 48 is 48. Now, in this problem, I started with a power of 4, and I divided it by a power of 1. And when I divide x to the 4th by x to the 1, I end up with x to the 3rd. And so my one coefficient down here on the bottom is going to be the coefficient on x to the 3rd. And then I have minus 3x squared plus 6x minus 16 for a constant term, and then plus 48 is my remainder, and it's 48 divided by x plus 3. And so that polynomial would be your final answer.